most certainly not Lexa Dixon, and this is not my vlog. It's this guy's vlog. I'm going to interview him for a change.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, what's your name and what's the longest time you've spent in prison?
The name's Lexa Dixon, and I think 13 years.
13 years. There's a story there.
Yeah, there's a story of, no, I've never been in prison.
So you weren't working as a corrections officer?
I mean, I correct myself a lot of the time, but not as a corrections officer.
So I guess the first and obvious thing is, tell us about the blog that you're running and what got you into it.
Okay, so I started tubing a few years ago. I started doing some vlogs. I think it was mid last year that I sort of started, around that time. Then I kind of gave up, and then some lovely person right here told me to keep going with it. So that's what I've been doing. I keep going with it. So my vlog's pretty much an actor's life when not acting. It's pretty much.
I think that would fairly much describe most actors in New Zealand.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff on my channel. There's kittens, there's music reviews, there's music gigs, there's movie reviews, there's vlogs, just random bits and pieces, visits of me visiting around Wellington, the new segment, entertaining interviews, which is basically going to have all the sort of talents that I can sort of find, both New Zealand and overseas, but more so New Zealand. That's going to be in the likes of actors, cosplayers, YouTubers, dancers, singers, entertainment as a whole. That's the other thing that makes my segment different, is the fact that I start with the question of, so tell me about yourself, and then I stem it into a conversation rather than having a pre-planned list of questions. So that's what kind of gives the difference to my style of interview than someone that's, you know, cross-camera interviewing a celebrity or something.
Yes, I have noticed a lot of people go into interviews with a preconception about what they're going to get out of it. So they've already decided what answers they want, and they try and extract those answers from the interviewee.
Yes, that's correct.
And invariably they get very, very poor response from it. And I think it comes from a lack of not being able to improvise when you're interviewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I suppose from the kind of conversations that I have, it's a lot more truthful. Instead of trying to pull an answer for someone, I'm accepting the answer that they give me. So
what's the most interesting interview you've done so far? Other than me.
Other than you? Well, there isn't one, no. My first interview was with Special Effects New Zealand, with a couple of good friends of mine, Jake and Chester. Just talking to them about, you know, what they've done and the fact that Chester's done special effects and whatnot for the likes of X-Files, all that kind of thing. Talking about their acting, talking about their upcoming web series, which episode 1 has already aired. Yeah, there was a lot of information in there that I wasn't aware of, and I learned a lot about people that I have as friends, you know. So that was probably the most interesting sort of interview that I've had so far.
Where did the name Lexa Dixon came from?
Well, Lexa is simple. It's Axl backwards. And Dixon, I'm a big fan of Daryl Dixon from Walking Dead.
Well, that's fair enough then.
Yeah.
Do you think interviewers should avoid answering yes or no questions?
Well, possibly. Yep.
That's another big mistake I see a lot of interviewers doing. And a lot of very so-called professional interviewers as well. They ask these big questions and big preamble and stuff, and then they go, so do you think that's a da-dum? And they finish it off with a yes or no. A question that could be answered yes or no, and that's all they ever get too. Because by that stage they've bored the interviewees.
Kind of like this one. She haven't sort of asked me anything challenging.
No, I haven't yet. I'm just rambling on while I think. When did you start acting?
I suppose day one. My mum could probably even tell you that I was a bit of an actor since birth. But professionally, I started acting, I think it was around 2006. I had my first theatre production with a Christchurch company, Original Scripts. And that was a pretty interesting challenge, you know, being up there and being on stage, and you know, you can't screw up, and if you do screw up, you've got to improv. And I was so new to this acting thing that I was scared that I was going to screw up and I wouldn't know how to improv. But no, we ended up having 2 shows of it, and everything all went bliss.
Oh, excellent. Did you train anywhere in particular?
I did a little bit of the Wellington Performing Arts Centre before I had to sadly head back home to Christchurch due to that's a story for another day. Apart from that, my training's basically been in theatre with original scripts. They cut it up into 2 scripts a year, so you got 6 months and then 6 months, obviously. And basically how they sort of do it is, day 1, this is the script that we're doing, this is the play that we're doing, and then you work on that up until you sort of perform it. So they're moulding you, they're directing you, they're giving you the information that you need to be able to portray your character and be able to give your best in that performance. So, yeah, original scripts would have been my training ground.
Cool, sounds like a really good way to do it. Very practical.
Yes. Not really what I want to do. I've kind of had enough of theatre. Funny I say that because I'm in a theatre production at the end of this month. But film and TV is kind of where I want to be.
Yeah. When did you get your first film role?
My first feature was A Motel in a Hard Place, shot in Dunedin. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of student short films. So the crossover from theatre to film, considering it was student short films, wasn't too hard or too much of a challenge for me. But getting into A Motel in a Hard Place, and I was one of 3 leads, that was a challenge. There was a lot of things I wasn't aware of, a lot of things I learned. But yeah, so that was probably my first proper big deal, was Motel in a Hard Place with the underdogs, Kirk and Luke Bremner, who are also really good mates of mine.
Where do you see yourself going from here over the next couple of years?
Well, from here I see myself going home and doing some editing.
Hopefully that won't take you a couple more years. But with
I don't know.
Shooting, it's entirely possible.
Well, I suppose it depends where you put me. You give me that, you know, the chance to make it, then, you know, opportunities are endless. No, okay, well, in all seriousness, I don't need Tim Simpson. It helps. And it's fantastic to work with you, but in 2 years, I want to see myself going towards that zone of hopefully working in Shorten Street, so then I can be noticed overseas. My long-term sort of goal is to work with Jack Blake and Peter Jackson, both, you know, pretty big idols to me. I have had the chance to work with Peter, but only as an extra. That was still pretty rewarding though.
Yep, I've done the same, and it is quite an eye-opener.
Yes. I mean, there's a film set and then there's a film set. You know, you haven't seen anything yet until you're in some big Hollywood blockbuster film. You know, it's crazy. So yeah, in a couple of years, I sort of wouldn't mind being sort of known for the YouTube stuff that I'm doing, and for my acting, have maybe another 1 or 2 feature films sort of under my belt. You know, it'd be nice to... I've been nominated for 48 Hour Film Fest before. It'd be nice to actually win Best Actor. So it's kind of, yeah, where I see myself. Mainly recognition. Not worried about too much fame or being a millionaire in a couple of years. And money's not always been a big deal for me anyways, so...
It would help, though.
Oh, well, yeah, it does. But I don't do it for the money. So.
Another big passion of yours is music, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing quite a bit of reviewing and videoing of bands playing and live music and stuff.
Yes.
What sort of stuff do you get into? What are your favourite bands? What is it that drives you to sort of follow the music more?
Well, I suppose music's always been a big part of my life. A lot of people can obviously say that. I went through a really hellish patch when I was younger, and there was nothing that could really help me get through it other than listening to music. Back in those times, I was listening to a lot of hip-hop. There was a entertainment company called Dawn Raid Entertainment. I don't know if you remember them.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to one of their gigs, and they had the likes of At Ease, Fast Crew, Mareko, Savage, you know, all those things. So that's what I was into back then. Nowadays, rock and metal. It's a good chance to be able to positively get out some anger rather than going around smacking a few hundred people around the head. So yeah, my first gig was because I had a free ticket with an X in mine was 50 cents. Yeah. And my next gig that I'm going to, Jim Beam Homegrown 2018. Obviously, we're spending most of the day on the rock stage. But getting back to sort of music reviews and whatnot, I've been doing a bit of work for Aotearoa, which is an alternative music sort of company.
Yep.
Under the same name as my YouTube name, Lexa Dixon. So you can check it out on aotearoa.co.nz. And last review that I did was for a Christchurch band called Fall of Them. They came to Wellington as part of the March of the Fallen event, along with good mates of mine, Snake Behaviour. I don't know what else really to add. I mean, on my channel you've got music videos of, there's Lord up there, there's Broods, there's a little bit of Parachute Festival back in 2012. There's a whole wide range of sort of music, but personally, rock and metal, a little bit of dancey stuff, a little bit. And maybe one or two hip-hop songs, but overall, rock and metal.
I probably should point out that we're not having some sort of spasm or anything around here. It's just that my next door neighbour here has been doing his garden, and we're getting a lot of flies coming over as a result of something that they're...
So they don't have a fly farm over there?
No, I think he might be making zombies, but I'm not entirely sure.
Ah. Well, I got no seal. And there's a reason why Lucille is in most of my videos, not all of my entertaining interview videos, and that's because when I got her, I kind of fell in love. It was like my second love. So, being a Walking Dead fan and whatnot, I wanted to incorporate a bit of entertainment into my entertaining interviews. Luckily, it's all plastic and stuff, otherwise I could look like Glenn. And if you haven't seen Walking Dead, then... But if you watch Game of Thrones and not Walking Dead...
So I'm going to go and watch Walking Dead now. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed about the film industry in New Zealand compared to overseas, in that the real focus is on getting the job done, not who does what. And we don't have this big blame culture that you always hear about with overseas entertainment industry. As a result of that, I've noticed a lot of people have commented when they've come from the US and the UK and stuff, and they're shooting in New Zealand for the first time. They are always just blown away by the culture differences and how positive it is here.
Yes. It is a whole completely different scene here, and I suppose that's why there's a lot, and going to be even more, companies coming here to shoot stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the film industry in New Zealand, I see that only growing and growing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see New Zealand sort of grow more and America sort of decline. It's just my world that I'm living in, and then I don't have to go overseas or anything. I can just go, oh, there's a film up here, I'll get an audition. Yeah,
at some point I'm quite keen on getting hold of a stealth helicopter and I'm going over to LA, and I'm going to change that sign on the side of the hill to Hollington.
Why?
Well, I think the term Wellywood, just one of my personal beefs, Wellywood is a very degrading term, because why would we want to fashion ourselves after such a dysfunctional industry in the States? I think it would be a lot more positive if Hollywood changed their name to Hollington and fashioned themselves after what's happening in Wellington. That would just better both industries. And
See, I've always been a sucker for the whole Wellywood sign and whatnot. I always wanted Wellington sign to be Wellywood, and it wasn't because of that. It was the fact that, you know, Wellington is the new Hollywood. We're the new and improved Hollywood, and this is how it should be. But it's here in our little country of New Zealand.
Yeah, I can understand where people come from with that, but I just think that we do it so much better.
We do.
Yeah, and it's our own. It doesn't have to be a poor cousin to someone else. Thanks for coming along, and
thank you for having me.
You were well had.
Fantastic.
Right, well, that's enough for him.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.